basically a guy who wants attention as well. So I guess we're doing this video together today. Maybe if this little attention seeker will let me talk. So I thought I would use this free moment when this guy has a good mood to give you a little update on how the healing journey is going. So today I went to a mouth health specialist in Estonia that, as they say, should be the best in Estonia. And it was an interesting experience, to say the least. So I made a few notes. So I was thinking I would share a few interesting suggestions that, in my opinion, seem ridiculous, or different opinions from different doctors, and theories why they think things are as they are right now. So so different theories from different doctors so far. I still haven't made the calculation how many different doctors I have visited. I will have to go over and see, how much it's been. It's been about 4 months. So a lot of visits. But well, I would first start with a few comments about today. So I went there. I didn't have high expectations for her because, so far, in Estonia, not so good experience. And I mean, she did say few, reasonable things. I was happy that she noticed few symptoms, because many, doctors have just taken a look and said, yeah, it looks fine, you're not bleeding, you're not rotting, so you're fine. She did notice few things, for example, that the saliva is very foamy, like I made a soap or something, and that's not normal. Generally a healthy mouth has a saliva that has pH about 7, and the saliva should be very liquid and watery. That is exactly opposite of my case. So in my case, the saliva is a little bit acidic. In worse days, might be about 5. In some better days, maybe 6. But never really 7 right now. And, this foamy, no liquid, no watery saliva, that's real bad. Anyways, I was about to go over those different suggestions and different theories on what's the reason for current situation, and then I try not to rant too much or go too deep into each, thing, even though those two make me emotional, and it does also make me feel like ranting. But I'm trying to, respect your time. So, first one that really pissed me off is that it's neurological. So there was one doctor who had a theory that it's probably neurological, and he was very sure of himself. He said something like, your brain controls everything, so the reason for that is probably that because you have an epilepsy, maybe something in your brain, related to epilepsy, reacted in a way that basically your brain turned your saliva thick and acidic. What is an interesting story, to say the least. I mean, I don't have words for that. I said to that person, I always like to challenge those doctors and their theories, or sometimes they're really sure in that, they present it like it's a fact. Then I would ask questions. For example, I asked a question from him, okay, if you say this is neurological issue, why at the time when I took antibiotics did the symptoms go away? If it's not bacterial, you say it's a neurological thing, why did the symptoms disappear if I was taking antibiotics? If it wasn't related to bacteria, why would the symptoms disappear? And for that he said, I will have to, well, they don't have the same expression in English, but basically he said that I have no comment for that, I have no answer for that. It's basically was the answer. God, I need some water. It's hell in my mouth. Give me a second. And we're back. Oh, so hard. So, even speaking is a bit painful. A bit painful and really frustrating. Anyways, yeah, so this theory about this being related to epilepsy. In my opinion, it's a stupid theory and just another way how they can just do the medical gaslighting and get rid of you fast. Saying that you take so many medications, so that's probably the reason. Or that you have epilepsy and that's probably the reason. It's always probably, you know, it's never microbe testing, nothing like that. Because it's Estonia. Yeah, the sentence, there's nothing I can visibly see, so you're fine. Yeah, the sentence of I can't see anything weird. I can't identify anything weird. This in itself is weird from a doctor, and so I've heard it several times. And this is like, yeah, you can't see anything because microbes are not visible. Did you go to school? They are only visible with microscope, etc. You can identify those when you do a microbe test, but because we don't do those, then we don't know. So I can't see anything obvious is a stupid answer. Especially if a patient complains about pain and things like that. So, yeah, the next one. So this is something that the doctor today told me, and that was you have a dry mouth, and your mouth is dry because you are stressed. I have another, vision. I have an argument against that. That is, I have been really stressed, and sometimes in my life. I've also taken the medication like about 30 years, epilepsy medication. Exactly. I was really stressed when I had my kid. I was really stressed and I only slept like 2 hours per 24 hours. Like 2 hours in day and night. Sometimes it was hard. I was really stressed and I never had dry mouth. Never had that issue ever before. Before this infection came and all of those things. And probably you know from the previous video. Oh, don't rush anywhere. Hey. So, as you probably know from previous video, or if you don't, then you go back and learn that. So the infection was the beginning of the microbe imbalance. Yeah, so this dry mouth stuff is a little bit something that annoys me, because as much as I have followed, well-known experts on microbial subject, they all say that actually dry mouth is one of the signs of microbe imbalance and dysbiosis. So it's kind of like at the time when I was told that and we're back. So the time when I was told that no, it's not a tooth infection and your original treated tooth is fine, you just have gum inflammation. So gum inflammation technically is a side effect or a sign of tooth infection. It can be. Doesn't have to be, but sometimes it's a sign of, affected tooth. Especially it's only like right around one tooth. It can be a sign of that. So currently I'm having the same situation that I had back then. That they basically say that my symptom is the actual issue, or symptom is the disease. but they don't want to cure the root cause. Jesus, stop doing that. So they don't want to test, they don't want to cure the root cause, they just want to treat symptoms. And I would say it's, one of the problematic things about, today's medicine sometimes, that we're treating the symptom and not actually the root causes, or we're not treating... Oh my god, I have no comments on that. That's cute. So we're not treating the patient, we're just treating symptoms. And, writing tablets and etc. etc. Finding relief instead of real cure. So the drama out stuff, don't they relevant? So I do agree this is a symptom, but I don't think it just randomly happens, There must be a reason, and she doesn't really give me a reason. She did mention this stupid idea, theory that I've heard before, that you take so many medications, that's the reason. But as I already said, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, and then the stress and etc. And then she had a comment when we discussed about whether or not it can be bacterial issue. She said that pathogenic bacteria and anaerobic bacteria, those are usually the issue in the mouth. Anaerobic bacteria that doesn't like oxygen, those are the ones who, cause gum inflammation, that cause gingivitis, peritonitis, etc. So in general, we don't want anaerobic bacteria in our mouth. So she said that those can only live in gum pockets, nowhere else. And because I don't have obvious peritonitis symptoms, I must be fine. I don't have deep gum pockets. My gums are fine on visual inspection. So I have actually a feeling I want to argue with that. So yeah, anaerobic bacteria actually, her saying isn't factually right. They can live in other places. Anybody who has read any medical literature on dental health can tell you that anaerobic bacteria can very successfully live in other places in your mouth. They can live on your tongue. That's a very good place for them to hide, because your tongue, it's like a very structural and interesting hiding place. You have the... God, I don't know enough English for this subject, this topic, but your tongue has structure, there's places to hide in there. So that's actually one place that is very easy and good place to live for those bad bacteria. And then another way your mouth can have anaerobic bacteria, even if you don't have deep pockets, is if the bacteria make biofilm. So biofilm is, I think I mentioned shortly what it is, but you can Google it. I've noticed that even a lot of Estonian doctors even don't know what is a biofilm. Yeah, I'm surprised that too. So, but anyways, the bad bacteria, they create biofilm, that is a protection from the host's immune system. So they can hide from our T cells and our immune cells and all the stuff we have in our saliva to help disinfect the mouth. But if they create the biofilm and protection for themselves, then your immune system will not find them, and then it can just chill off and cause inflammation, can cause pain. Was there anything else? Oh yeah, the biofilm actually also protects bacteria from antibiotics, because you see nowadays we're having more and more cases of antibiotic resistance, and biofilm is one of the reasons, because it just many times cannot penetrate through the biofilm. It's just their protective home. So yeah, her, saying that because I don't have deep pockets, I'm just fine and there's no bacterial issue, that is just factually wrong. Then there's, oh my god, I cannot believe that. So this suggestion I got from, as they say, the top specialist in my health, stomach dog, today was that you should not brush your tongue. She asked me if how do you clean? Do you brush your tongue? I said, yeah, every day. And she suggested not to do that. I'm surprised. So her reasoning for that was that you shouldn't do that because this would cause irritation and your mucosal layer in any other place. You're not brushing it, right? You're not brushing your cheeks, you're not brushing your gums, right? I was like, I didn't answer, but I do actually. So she said, this is just unnecessary irritation for the tongue, and just don't clean your tongue, don't wash your tongue. Don't use them, tongue scrapers, anything. She just suggested, maybe sometimes, very rarely, but generally don't do that. And I'm left very confused from this suggestion because as much as you listen, read, look around, every dentist will tell you that the tongue is the place that is like the biggest bacteria mountain, and a lot of pathogens and other bacteria, they gather there. So if you don't brush your tongue, you're leaving a lot of guys there who shouldn't be there. So it's weird, never heard that before. And she's supposed to be the best and the smartest on mouth health. So yeah, then we go on. There is another theory I've heard about you just have a burning mouth syndrome, and you're just gonna accept it. That's how it is now. You just deal with it. Yeah, that's how your life is now. Nothing to do about that. And I have an issue with that because as much as I read, they got the diagnosis. Jesus, I'm fooling someone. That's funny. I accidentally touched my phone and called myself. To the phone I'm filming on. Anyways, who cares? Yeah, the burning mouth syndrome. So the issue with that is, I read some medical literature and I learned that actually how they diagnose burning mouth syndrome in general, it's done in a way that you first I need more English understanding. So first you must make sure it's not anything else. So how the doctors usually would diagnose burning mouth syndrome is that any other reason for the symptom is, proven wrong. Any other theory that could be a reason for mouth pain is just eliminated by testing. And in my case, the doctor who said that's that and there's nothing to do about it, she didn't do any testing. She even told me that, well, I don't see anything obviously bad, so I don't see the point in testing. So I was told no, not testing, and just as a fact that you have a burning mouth now. What is kind of weird because technically they should diagnose it differently. That's what science says. Yeah. And another small point. There is such a thing as secondary burning mouth. So that means basically that you have burning mouth syndrome. You have the syndrome technically. Yeah. I feel like my mouth is burning. I feel like it's hurting. But this is secondary burning mouth syndrome if there's a actual reason behind it and it's not just nerve pain, you know, because if there's an actual reason like a fungus or a microbial imbalance, then this can be fixed and then it's secondary because it's like a symptom of something else. If you fix the root cause, then it'll go away. There is, you know, such cases where somebody has burning mouth syndrome because hormones, whatever, and it's just not possible to fix. But yeah, I would say if it is anything to do with burning mouth, then it is only secondary. Where is enough fit? Yay, I'm so happy that this guy is happy. Yeah, so, some comments from today's visit to the doctor. Yay. So, today, with the doctor today, I had, she gave me suggestions. I mean, I reported what's my symptoms, one of them being that the pH of my saliva. Why do we do that today so much? Is 5 many times, just a lot lower than normal. She suggests that I should never measure the pH anymore and just not investigate what is my natural, normal, not eaten pH. Just don't measure it, don't think about it. That was her suggestion. I can on some level agree. It's bad to overthink it, it's bad to just checking that is biologically bad. Just, you know, forgetting about it and saying it doesn't matter, that is not true. So scientifically they say that if, you know, I mean, dental experts say that if your pH of your mouth is 5 or below, that's when the email starts. That sounded wrong. Email. Tooth email. I can't pronounce it. So that's when it starts to dissolve the milo. So acidity does matter. It's a problem. So next sentence she says you have damage on your teeth that seem to be like a result of long-term acidity. And I was asking her, like, couldn't those be like just a result of my saliva being like low pH and acidic? I was just questioning, like, isn't there a link? And she said, no, this only happens if a person would every day, all day long, eat acidic food, like somebody really loves lemon, or they eat, you know, things that have a lot of vinegar in it, you know, if they maybe drink Coca-Cola often, that would cause this acidic damage on the teeth. And I was like, okay, all of those drinks and all of those foods that you mentioned, those are acidity, you know, about 3 to 5 pH. So how would that not make sense of me having my teeth in this acidic saliva all of this time for months now? Yeah, the pH of 5. It's the same as some of those foods. So wouldn't it make sense that this could be the reason? And by her logic, she says no, that could not be the reason. Or when I pushed a little bit more and questioned, you know, the math is not mathing, then she said, okay, well, I don't know so much about that anyways. pretty much the same answer I got from the doctor who was sure that it's a neurological thing. So they do push some kind of their theory and agenda, and the minute you ask some kind of question or direct their attention to the facts that don't match with what they're saying, then they're just like, oh, I don't know anything. And I don't really like that, because if you're claiming to be an expert, then you should actually know what you're talking about, not just pretend. Because if you're pretending that you know about a thing and just, present your theory as a fact for sure, and you just, no, it's a burning moth, there's no microbial problem, go on with the life, and that's how we live now. Just have to push through it, just have to suffer now. Because people who really have a burning moth syndrome, it's hard life for them. It's a nerve pain that they cannot do anything about. But if you give people directions without really being sure in yourself as a doctor, then basically you are stopping them from getting real treatment. You're stopping them from actually getting real healthy cure they need, actually getting better. So in that case, in that sense, I really respect the doctors who have told me sometimes that, this is not my expertise, I'm not that experienced on that, I feel like I don't have, enough, how do you say, I'm compliable. They just straight up say, honestly. They don't pretend that they know about the thing, and they don't, just give you their theories that they're not even sure about themselves. So that's what I think about that. And so we went through all of this list together, and I ranted quite a long time. I tried to cut this down when editing, but as a summary from all of those different doctors so far, to the question of what is the cure and what would be the solution, I've had two answers. Two solutions, two cures and suggestions. So one of them was just accept it. That's how it is now. Just accept it, and that's how we're gonna live now. And that was about the burning mouth idea. And the second one, that was today, I got like a suggestion, what is the solution? She said that, well, you just gotta sip more water. As you have a dry mouth, you will have to sip water more often. Stay anywhere you go, take your water bottle with you, and just sip water constantly throughout the day. And I would say it does make sense if a person really has like dry mouth, that doesn't have any other root cause, besides just salivary glands not working, maybe that he had chemotherapy, something else went wrong, that they really lack saliva flow. In that case, this suggestion would make sense. In my case, and in general, I would say in case of many people who don't know about it, it doesn't make sense, because first of all, you're not curing the root cause, you're not actually testing, about the biofilm, you're not testing the bacteria and what is causing that. Because before the infection, I'll explain to every doctor so far, I never had this issue. And I also didn't have the issue when I was on the antibiotic treatment. So any person, even if they're not the doctor, logically would think that, okay, they would think that, if it disappeared, the issue, while being on the antibiotics, maybe it is somehow microbial problem, right? But no, she said that it's just dry mouth, just because because that's how it is now. And said something like, well, you have been taking those medications for 30 years now, and probably, such things, the longer you take them, the worse it gets, and probably there was a point, something that broke the camel's back. So by her theory and many other doctors, what they say, the theory is that my medications are to blame, my epilepsy medications, and just it was coincidental that like at the time when I had the tooth infection, exactly at this time I had my medication. Just I know something changed in my brain and my body reacts differently to my medication. Make it make sense, please. Somebody, make it make sense. Seriously, I feel it's like a lot of it is issue about our Estonian medical system, like many things that are already average and normal throughout the world and Europe, etc. We learn all the time. Science and medicine, they go on, things change. And those changes only get here in Estonia about like 4 to 10 years of delay. So that's probably the reason. I try not to go too deep into that because I'm already a lot over time from what I was planning to do. But it's not just the teeth, it's not just me. I have, repeatedly heard stories from my friends, friends of my friends. Oh, people are sent away from ER with bone fractures, with a lot of different issues, and they always say is that, oh, it's not too big, it's not too big of a problem, it's not very broken. So you go home, you put a cold bag on it, and it will eventually fix itself. Like, that's how bad medicine Estonia has gotten. And I never really thought that dentistry is also something that affects my, because I never had such problems before. I've had one root canal before. I know many people who, had this kind of treatments. I never heard. I never even knew what is oral dysbiosis. I seriously never heard about such a thing. I knew about gingivitis. I had it at one point, but I never knew about problems like bacterial biofilm. Never heard of it so far. So I'm trying to pull this very chaotic video together with the idea that a lot of things get here with big delays. So that's just how it is, and we have to accept it. And this was a big mistake, probably a little bit on my part as well. I trusted the wrong doctors, made some not so smart choices, but I never knew so much about dental science and medicine because I'm not a dentist and I'm not a microbiologist. But I wanted to finish with that. This was a random rant, just a lot of information all at once, and me whining and sharing what I know. I'm not a doctor, don't listen to me. But by the end of this rant, I want to share something that I guess is a good news, because that means, maybe this issue and this hole in Estonian medicine can get some attention, and maybe eventually something will, get better. Because I can imagine there might be many people, either in Estonia or somewhere else, living just accepting that, oh, my mouth doctor told me that I have mouth dryness, or my mouth doctor told me that I have burning mouth, and I'm just gonna have to accept it and not look into it any further and go through whole day just sipping on water. By the way, I forgot to say, I said that in some cases where it's not secondary or it's just real dryness, it will make sense to sip on water. But it doesn't make sense to sip on water if you don't really have to, and if there's another solution, because any dentist in the whole world who has like a brain cell or two would tell you that constant sipping of water or any drink is not good for your teeth. Your teeth need rest time, like just time for your saliva to restore the, minerals in your teeth. So if you constantly sipping on water, then you will never have this restoring time. Hey, you little dentist. So I think it's a stupid suggestion, and it's also something that's just controlling the symptom and not really curing the root cause. But I was about to get to the news that someone from Estonian media, a reporter of one Estonian well-known TV show, he contacted me. I mean, I never actually thought they would act, but I wrote about my story. I wrote about how I think there are some things that are dangerous for people, and I think Estonian people should be warned that that is something that can happen. And when you go to a dentist, they might not listen if you talk about the pain. If they don't see the symptoms they want to see or what they're used to seeing, then they might tell you that they're not going to help you. And then once they fuck up your health, then Estonian system isn't capable, and doctors in Estonia are not capable to treat you. So we will have to just find a few thousand from our own money and go to England, for example, like I will, to fix it. So I just thought it was something that, maybe people need to be warned about. So that's why I wrote to the show, just telling them that's, short version. And I said that, if you have more questions, I'm happy to answer if it feels like this could make a good story. If not, then, have a good day. And he called me. What the fuck? That's not real. Somebody pinched me. It sounds unreal. I was in positive shock when I heard it. He called me and asked if he can come and do an interview. So I have to start cleaning. I need to pretend to the camera that I always have things fixed and clean in my home. I mean, I do clean. Not only when the TV guys come. I actually clean. But I also have a baby who messes things up a little bit. So I go and run to cleaning, and sorry for this thing taking so long. So take care of your teeth, take care of your health, and we talk again soon. Ciao.